Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
There you go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Had a bit of a break last week, but we're back in action here on another Wednesday edition of Wealth Coffee Chats. Good morning to everyone that's jumped on this morning. If you haven't sort of seen me around before, or you're wondering who's this guy on your screen, my name's Cash Shosted, representing the property management team at R&W Plus and the 6-star team here in the Positive Group, which is super cool. And, what we do every sort of Wednesday here on Wealth Coffee Chats 8:10 is jump on and talk all things property management, talk all things about keeping you safe and holding your wealth for that matter. And we're going to try and, share some information, unpack a few stories perhaps over the next 10, 15 minutes. So as I get myself ready, team, Luke's jumped on. So, g'day, Luke. And Alison, morning to you as well. Thanks for jumping on as always, team. Always good to see you guys. Might be a bit rusty today. I wasn't here last week, but we'll try and get through this stuff, team. So I'm going to try and flick a few buttons on my side of things. What are we going to talk about today? Well, headline today for me is 5 weeks vacant in a market where what I'm going to show you today via SQM, vacancy rate of 0.8. So we're sitting under 1% in this particular suburb, and just a bit of a situation and case study I thought I'd share today, and a couple of lessons learned for the owner, a couple of lessons learned for team, and I suppose, I want to share all that here today and make sure you, as the investor, don't get in that position. So as I said, team, 5 weeks vacant, 0.8 vacancy rate. What on earth went wrong? Why are we sitting 5 weeks vacant? Well, we're going to try and unpack that this morning. So a little bit of context, a little bit of story, try and set the scene for you guys here this morning. Bunty's jumping on as well, mate. G'day to you. And everyone else that jumped on this morning. So to set the scene, team, Brisbane. Now this is probably applicable, I suppose, to any particular marketplace in Australia, because I would dare say this is going on in a few marketplaces. But what happened sort of in the last week was, suburb of Coorparoo. So it's about 4 or so Ks from Brisbane CBD. So, inner east suburb of Brisbane. I used to live not far from there. Still got a property over that way myself. So, really love that sort of area for the lifestyle it provides. So it's an area where, tenants and us people in general, we want to live in these sorts of areas. So really desirable suburb, great infrastructure, transport, schools, access to CBD, as I mentioned as well. So a lot of things going for this particular area, which is why it's kind of a bit confusing why a 2-bedroom apartment in the suburb of Coorparoo, being so close to the CBD, is sitting vacant after 5 weeks. So we get in touch with this particular investor who had the property on with a different agency there, which is fine. This property here, only 10 years old. So, relatively speaking, the property is in pretty good nick. It's not run down. It doesn't need a full renovation. So we're talking a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment, 4Ks from the CBD, in pretty good nick, 10 years old. Right, you guys know as well as I do, we've all experienced some rate hikes over the period of time. And the owner found themselves in the position where through Strata and the body corp there was reason to create and deliver a special levy to this particular building, which meant there was some significant buildings works that needed to be done in regards to cladding and legislation, things like that, which then created an $8,000 invoice to each of the owners in that particular building. So, it's a bit of a shock, I suppose, if you're not ready for that or you're not aware of that stuff coming. You get an email when it's totaling $8,000, right? So pretty significant impact and stuff there we need to figure out. So what had happened? Well, the sinking fund wasn't going to be able to fund this particular works that were involved, hence the special levy. So the owner's in a position where he's got an $8,000 bill on his doorstep. His property's renting for about $625 per week. Market value roughly sort of $650, $660. So what happens? What does he do? Well, the lease is coming up to expire, and as we know, not just here in Queensland, but around the country, we do have the ability to increase the rent once every year, being 12 months from the last one. And the owner thought, well, I'm going to try and recover my cost pretty quickly because we're under a bit of stress. And that was sort of the solution. It was just pass it on, right? I'm not saying that was the right or wrong move. I'm just going to explain what happened and maybe we can find some lessons in it. So the owner at the time increased the rent, wanted to increase the rent by $75 a week and take that rent from $625 up to $700 per week, right? Makes sense on paper. However, there was no diligent conversation, research, strategy, interpretation of the data and what was actually happening in that marketplace for there to be, to just pause for a moment and double check what was actually going on to see how this was going to play out. So the increase was implemented by the property manager without hesitation, took the instructions and off they went. From the tenant's perspective, they said, hey, listen, thanks, but no thanks. We feel that's above market value and we are going to move. Now, as I shared from the top, 0.8 vacancy rate, that's tenants not going to have a lot of choice out there, obviously, but hey, that's their choice. They're going to go and find an alternative accommodation route, which is totally cool. So here's the thing. There's no research done. Now this, I guess, knee-jerk reaction to, but hopefully recover the cost from an $8,000 special levy has caused a vacate. Hi, Sonia. I just saw your message there. So, and Kevin's here as well. G'day, Kevin. And so, team, the tenant was going to leave the property and vacate the property. So what had happened? Well, we need to, property manager said, hey, I need to advertise on the major portals and I need to find a new tenant. The owner said, fantastic, go and do that. So that process started. The property was advertised and open homes started occurring. Here's the thing, team. At $700 per week, the market wasn't reacting to it. Now, was it $20 above market value? Was it $50 above market value? Remember, we've come from $625 to $700 in this space. What we found, and I'll quickly show you guys, just so you know I'm not making numbers up here. But here is the average weekly rent in the suburb. Now, if I can make sure I can hover over this, let's see if this works. Now, interestingly enough, the average 2-bedroom apartment in this particular suburb is sitting there at around, if I can read that on my screen properly, just under the $600 mark, right? Now, Coorparoo, for those that know Coorparoo, there's a mixture of, I suppose, new developments. There's a mixture of some older, development there, so it kind of averages out in that space. Like I said, 10 years old, not doing too bad. Now, given the market conditions suggest that low vacancy rates, things were quite active. And the thing was, with the advertising campaign, you guys know we jump on here on Wealth Coffee Chats. We talk about price, presentation, promotion. We're going to tick those 3 boxes, right? The 3 Ps. And what had happened was, from a promotional point of view, there was no professional photos, virtual tour, virtual staging, floor plans, a range of different things that just wasn't promoting the property or doing, what the campaign perhaps needed to, especially given the agency was trying to get above market value. So you got to, think about that for a moment. And then on top of that, the price is obviously influencing perhaps the online engagement, which led to, limited people walking through the property at the open home, right? So it became a problem. What had happened over those 5 weeks was, nothing was adjusted. There was no strategy. It was a hope strategy. Let's just hope the market and someone's going to come and overpay. And now it's 5 weeks into the campaign. The owner has a significant problem. He still has the $8,000 special levy sitting there to be paid, team. He still has that $8,000 levy. And now he's got a property that is 5 weeks vacant. At $700, arguably, we're saying it's probably 5 to 7%, a little bit higher than maybe the market is willing to pay at the moment, causing the 5-week vacancy. And then at 6, even if the owner had increased the rent to $650, as an example, not $700, and he still would have got a $25 increase there. $650. I'm just doing the math here on the side, right? $650 a week for 5 weeks, $3,250, right? $3,250 in lost opportunity. Gross figures, of course, lost opportunity there. So call it $3,000. Now, here's the thing: if the owner and the property manager just paused for 5 minutes, done some research, come up with a plan A, a plan B, looked at price, presentation, and promotion. Funnily enough, at $625, if they had kept that rent with that tenant and renewed the lease, right? I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying if they had done that at $625 over a 5-week period, that's $3,125. So over $3,125 gained in revenue, right? Gross figure. So the difference of $125. Instead, the owner has lost the opportunity and generated $0 over the 5 weeks, not $3,125. So not the best result, I would imagine. So he says more coffee needed. That's right, Sonia. This is my first one. I'm probably going to get another one, Sonia. And morning to Chris as well. So, team, you can see where my brain's going. It's a bit mind-boggling when sometimes we property managers out there or owners, when we're not just pausing for a moment to check on the data, check on and set a strategy in that space. So, what had happened, obviously, thankfully, we're able to step in now and help this particular landlord. And again, we just focus on price, presentation, promotion, get these little things right, all the 1%ers that now lead us to a really good campaign. And in the last 48 hours, since we've launched, we've got some really good inquiry coming through now. To fix that problem. So can't change what's happened in the last 5 weeks. But I guess the lesson learned here, team, is to kind of have that, that ability to just acknowledge what the bigger picture looks like, to just pause for a moment, talk to a professional. And if, sometimes if you're property manager, I believe we're here to keep you safe and help you maintain and hold your wealth, right? And I think providing you with some of this information and strategies is super critical, so you're not experiencing 5 weeks vacant, right? So talk to a pro who's on your team. That's up to you guys, right? We're here to sort of encourage and help you and guide you, and make sure we're looking at the data, because the data and the information in front of you will help you create and deliver a strategy, right? And then it's all about execution from that point in time. So super interesting case study there. When you look at vacancy rates under 1%, which is sort of where most marketplaces across the country sit, it's interesting to sort of see, well, how come this thing is vacant 5 weeks, right? We've got to sort of tweak and adjust and continue to get those results. So, bit of a Wealth Coffee Chat story, I suppose, this morning. That's all I had to share. If there's any questions, pop into the chat for me, team. Be good to hear your feedback on how you thought that story played out. Hopefully you guys not experienced that before. And certainly the lessons learned today was just pause for a moment, price, presentation, promotion, team. Have a look at the numbers when you're looking at lease renewals. You'll often find that sometimes increasing the rent without the information, without the plan, without the strategy, and certainly without the execution, if you don't have the right person on your team, you then end up in a much worse off position in that space. So that is me today, team, for Wealth Coffee Chats. Sort of fast one to get a lot of information out there. So thank you for always participating and playing full out. As always, email address is just below, somewhere there, I think. And if there's any topics, questions, anything I can help you guys to keep you safe and maintain your wealth. And of course, feel free to let me know what's happening in your world. Always super, super good. So that's it for me, team. Wealth Coffee Chats, property management, done and dusted for a Wednesday. Good to get back into it. Team, don't forget, 8:10 tomorrow, Jason will be back for another lesson and story, I'm sure. And we will get into it from there. So thanks for playing along, team. Good to see you. Thanks for having me back. And we'll see you next Wednesday for another episode. Have a good day, guys.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.